Welcome back to another video, guys, and today we've got an interesting discussion about something that is affecting the teaching profession and is going to continue affecting it for the next few years. It is hopefully on the turn now, and the last couple of years have shown a few signs of it changing, but the only way to really know if it's going to change is looking over the next few years and seeing what's going to happen with the data. But we are looking at the teacher shortage, whether that's a real thing, whether it's affecting schools, how it's affecting schools, why it's happening, all sorts today. Going to really delve into it and see if we can work out what's going on and if there's anything that schools can do about it. The teacher shortage is a real thing, and it's currently affecting so many schools across the country, and that's because there simply aren't enough teachers out there to provide jobs for all the children that we need to teach. There's an increasing population, and the population of teachers is not going up. Now, this is for a very number of reasons. I'm going to get into those reasons in a few minutes. I just thought I'd show you some statistics first of all that kind of might surprise you about just how many teachers are leaving the profession each year. After 1 year of teaching, an incredible 15% of teachers quit the profession. They leave and they don't come back just after their first year of teaching. And after 3 years, that goes up to 25%. So within 3 years of teaching, 25%, that's 1/4 of teachers have quit the job, quit the profession and moved to something else. Now, I think this says something huge about the workload that is placed on teachers, especially in their first few years. And without the right support and the right management of that workload, then this can have a massive impact on people's mental health, on their work-life balance, on the time with their family, and just on the enjoyment of the job. People get into teaching to teach the children, and so often that can end up not happening if you're not in a supportive school. Now, I got very, very lucky, and I work in a really supportive school, and they really care about our workload and about our mental health. And so thankfully that's not been a concern for me, and I'm in my 4th year now teaching, and it's going really, really well. Can you imagine 25% of people entering a job by the point I'm at now have already quit? That shows you straight away how there is an incredible teacher shortage, because so many people are quitting that profession within 3 years. Now, the reasons behind that, there's varying reasons, and people quit for all sorts of different reasons. So this is going to be a bit broad, because obviously I can't go into the reasons why every single person has quit the teaching profession. I don't know them all. But having had a look, I think the main ones generally are they don't believe that the pay is high enough, they don't believe that the workload is low enough, and that it is one of those high pressure jobs where they don't get the chance to turn off from it. Now, if you ever look online and you look over any kind of teaching group, or there's loads of Facebook groups that teachers are in, there's always teachers worrying about the workload they're put under. And this is because teachers as a whole are put under an extraordinary amount of workload, and that workload can build up and become too much. And if the schools don't put in place the right kind of commitment to supporting those teachers, then all of a sudden those teachers can just say, actually, you know what, this is not worth it. Teaching is, I think, a well-paid job. It is a decent salary. However, for the amount of work that we actually do across the year, I do believe that a pay rise for teachers, like the government announced a few years ago, and then they didn't bring it in, but they have said they might delay it and bring it in at a later date. I do believe that is a fair assessment of the teaching profession and of the workload that they are being put under. So I do believe that a pay rise would be good for teachers, and I do think that that is one of the main reasons why lots of teachers leave the profession, is just because actually the amount of work they are asked to do for the amount of pay they get does not correlate very well. The other thing is, I think a lot of teachers go into the profession because they absolutely love teaching, and that is their passion. And for me, that is very much true. I enjoy being in the classroom, teaching the class, the children in front of me, helping them learn, helping them overcome barriers. That's what I got into teaching for, and that's what I still love to do today. However, there is a large part of teaching that is basically not in the classroom. It is outside the classroom. Paperwork, filling in forms, those kind of bits that you don't really become a teacher for. Now, for me, they are worth it, and I know in any job that there's always parts of the job that you may not enjoy quite so much. And I don't enjoy those bits on my computer when I'm sat just working, filling in office documents, doing that kind of thing. I don't enjoy those bits as much as I do enjoy being in the classroom, but it is worth it for me. But for a lot of teachers, that might not be the case. It might not be worth it, and they might actually say, you know what, there's other jobs out there that I can get that I would maybe not enjoy all of it quite so much, but majority of it would be better. Going back to a few more statistics, people leaving the profession after 6 years in the job, 1/3 of teachers have quit. After 6 years, 1/3 have quit. I think it blows my mind that that's how many teachers have left the job. And I don't, if you are more experienced than me, you might be able to comment down below and tell people of your experiences, either in the profession or from leaving the profession. But I think that is just an incredible number of people to leave after just 6 years years. It's not a long period of time for a career. And also, if you look at the teachers across the country, of all the teachers in the country, 10% of them are in their first year. So 10% of teachers that are looking for older, more experienced teachers to mentor them, to supervise them, to help them out. Sometimes that can be seen as too many new, unexperienced teachers. If all those schools have the right support systems in place, then that is completely possible. It's completely acceptable to have 10% of teachers working there that are new and that can work and get those experience from the 90% of teachers that are more experienced. However, again, not all schools sadly have those experienced teachers in place in the right support systems to mentor those younger, unexperienced teachers. Part of the reason why so many teachers do quit after their first year or the first 3 years is because they don't get the right support at the start of their careers, and that doesn't then set up the foundations for them to move on throughout the rest of their career in teaching. So if those support systems can be put in place, then that is one way we can go to reduce this teacher shortage. Now that is what we're going to move on to next, and we're going to move on to how on earth can we reduce this shortage. Well, first of all, there is some positive news coming out recently. We've seen that actually lots and lots of signs are coming out that the teacher shortage is going to start reducing soon. Now hopefully those signs will continue and they won't turn back the other way, because they're only just starting to show, but they are looking good. First of all, there have been record numbers of people applying to become teachers since the pandemic started. Now this is for various reasons again, but one of the large ones is it is seen now as a reliable source of income, because throughout lockdown, throughout all the furlough systems and everything that went on, teachers were still working either in school or online learning. They were consistently working throughout the entire pandemic, and so then they got paid consistently throughout the entire pandemic, and that has kind of made the job seem a lot more appealing to a lot of people. So record numbers of people have started applying to become teachers. They've also seen that the government has brought in what is called the ECT framework, the Early Career Teacher Framework, and this now offers 2 years of support compared to beforehand when you were a newly qualified teacher or an NQT, and that was only 1 year of support when you started teaching. So hopefully by having those 2 years of support and having a bit more time out of class to gain experience from observing other teachers and talking to other teachers about what you're doing, then that might help a few more teachers feel that good support systems around them to keep them in the profession just a little bit longer, till they can start really feeling like they've got the job under control. Because when you're a teacher, you go in your first year, no matter how much preparation you've done, that first year is a roller coaster, and by the end of it, hopefully you've got to a point where you're confident in your teaching. But if not, then try again the next year. You will get there. This upturn in the number of teachers applying for the job has been brilliant, because the government has sadly been setting targets for years about recruiting the right number of teachers, and for the last 7 years they've actually been missing those targets. So maybe for now they're going to actually start hitting those targets, and they'll start recruiting the number of teachers they need to reduce that shortage. Now that'd be brilliant, because all across the country there are schools that are struggling to have the numbers of staff they need in schools teaching the children, and that's been seen really apparently recently with the pandemic, where schools with so many teachers off ill, trying to get even supply teachers in has been a struggle. So hopefully this can start to be the uptake in more teachers applying to become the job. However, the downside of that is that, like I said at the start, these signs of it changing are only starting to show, and there's been a general pattern across a number of years now where the number of teachers that are in job is linked to the economy. Generally, when the economy is going badly or the economy's on a downhill slide, then more people apply to be teachers, because as I said earlier, it's that reliable source of income. However, when the economy takes an upturn and starts to improve, because there's more opportunities and more places to make money, people do not become teachers as much. So obviously, as the economy has taken a bit of a slump due to the pandemic, more people are applying. Wait and see what happens as the economy then builds itself back and the economy starts to improve again. What happens to the number of people applying to become teachers. Hopefully this has given you a bit of insight into what the teacher shortage is and why it is a problem for schools. It has been an ongoing thing for a long time now, and hopefully it's starting to change. And I do think one of the things we can do as teachers to change it is to be open about our job. Now, there's a lot parts of teaching that you can't talk about due to your various commitments. You know, you've got all your professional standards to uphold, you've got safeguarding reasons. There's lots of things that in schools you have to really focus and be professional about. And there's lots of things in schools that you can talk about, and you can believe that, be proud of the job you are in, and you can share that with other people. Now, I'm very, very proud to be a teacher. I love my job. I really, really enjoy working at schools, and things like doing planning, teaching lessons, all those types of things that I really enjoy doing, I want to share with people so they can see what it's like to be a teacher. Quite frankly, it's one of those jobs where lots and lots of teachers don't talk about it outside of work because of the workload they're under, the stresses they're under, and they want to turn off from work and enjoy those times outside of school. So hopefully by making these videos, you guys can see just what it's like to be a teacher. And if you're thinking about applying, then please do get in touch. Go onto Facebook and find some teaching groups. There's loads of them on there, and they're all really, really helpful, full of helpful people. go on Twitter and find some teachers on there, because again, there's loads of them. Same on Instagram. Go and ask some questions and get some advice, because if you want to be a teacher, I'll wholeheartedly say it's been the best decision I ever made, and hopefully it will be for you guys too. So please do go take a look online, see what it's like. Got any questions, put them in the comments down below, and hopefully I'll see you in a classroom in a few years' time.